Welcome to Wealth of Words, where we open up those books that really kind of get you thinking differently, maybe see the world through a new lens. And today we're doing just that with Raise Your Game by Alan Stein Jr.
I'm Isabella and Richard. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
We hear that phrase all the time, raise your game.
Oh, yeah.
But when do we actually stop and really think about what it means?
Exactly. And this book is not just another self-help, pump-up speech. It's actually a whole framework built on three core roles: player, coach, and team. And I think it's interesting that Stein starts with players, emphasizing that you got to grow yourself before you can do anything else.
Yeah, that is really crucial. It's like
Yeah.
building a house.
Yeah.
You can't start with the roof. You need that solid foundation. And Stein argues that to, really step up your game in any area of life, you
Yeah.
first have to master yourself.
Right.
And he presents these 5 core virtues: self-awareness, discipline, passion work, ethic, and resilience.
Okay, so let's break down these virtues.
Okay.
Starting with self-awareness. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds pretty basic, but I think a lot of us, we kind of just go through life not really paying attention to the choices we make or how we're acting.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes Stein's approach to this self-awareness thing different?
Well, he recommends something he calls a daily self-audit.
Okay.
Now, this isn't about, being super critical of yourself for every little mistake you make. It's more about just taking a moment to think about what you did throughout the day and asking yourself, did these actions actually match up with my goals,
Right.
my values? It's a way to become aware of those hidden patterns, those habits that might be holding you back.
Yeah, I've always had trouble sticking to a morning routine.
Uh-huh.
I hit that snooze button way too many times.
Oh, yeah.
Which brings us to the next virtue: discipline.
Yes.
So how does Stein define discipline, and what are some ways he suggests to build it?
He's not talking about this strict boot camp kind of discipline.
Right.
He's more focused on creating these small, manageable habits that build up over time.
Okay.
He really emphasizes the importance of having a morning routine that works for you,
Okay.
even if it's just waking up 15 minutes earlier to, maybe meditate, read, or even just have a cup of coffee in peace before the day gets crazy.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not about fitting into some mold.
Right.
It's about finding what helps you succeed.
Exactly.
So we've got self-awareness, we've got discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those times when you just don't feel motivated? We're all human.
Yeah,
We all have days when we just don't want to put in the work.
absolutely.
Now that's where passion comes in, right?
Yes, definitely, because Stein says that real passion isn't about getting excited for a little bit. It's about really connecting with your why.
Okay.
Why are you chasing this goal? What kind of impact do you want to make? He suggests creating a passion statement, something you can look back on when things get tough.
It's like having that North Star to guide you when you feel lost.
Exactly.
So we're building this picture of the player, self-aware, disciplined, passionate.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, talent and passion can only take you so far.
Yeah,
So how about work ethic?
right.
How does Stein see hard work in today's world where everyone's telling you to hustle all the time?
That's such a good question, because I think there's a lot of confusion about what a healthy work ethic even looks like these days.
Yeah.
Stein focuses on really mastering the basics, quality over quantity.
Okay.
He compares it to a basketball player practicing free throws.
Okay.
You don't just throw up 1,000 shots randomly. You
Right.
focus on your form, perfecting the technique.
Yeah.
And that's how he sees work ethic. It's about practicing with intention, honing your skills.
So it's working smarter, not just harder.
Yes.
I like that. But even with the best preparation and effort, we all mess up sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's where resilience comes in.
Mm.
I think this virtue is especially important in our world, is always changing so fast.
Yeah.
What's Stein's take on bouncing back from failure?
He actually has this really interesting perspective on failure.
Okay.
He doesn't see it as a weakness, but as a chance to grow.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on the negative feelings, he encourages us to look at what went wrong,
Uh-huh.
learn from it, and use that to fuel our next try.
Okay.
It's about seeing failure as feedback, as information that helps us improve our approach.
So it's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning to deal with it.
Exact. And that's where the real growth happens.
Yeah.
This whole player section is about setting that strong foundation for lasting success, for becoming the best version of yourself.
Right.
But it doesn't end there.
Right. Because once you've mastered yourself, the journey continues.
It does.
And that's where the next two parts come in: coach and team.
I'm really interested to see how these roles build on that foundation of the player.
Yeah.
It seems like Stein's creating a blueprint not just for individual success, but for being a good leader
Yeah,
and building strong teams.
absolutely. And that's what we'll be diving into in the next part of our deep dive. But before we move on, we want to hear from you.
Yes.
What really stuck with you in this section? Have you ever tried a daily self-audit or a structured morning routine?
Share your thoughts and tell us about your experiences.
And if you're enjoying this exploration, don't forget to follow Wealth of Words for more of these thought-provoking deep dives.
Welcome back to Wealth of Words.
So we just finished exploring that player section of Raise Your Game, focusing on that individual growth, the 5 virtues that are key to mastering yourself.
Mm.
And now we're moving on to part 2, Coach. And it's really interesting how Stein talks about leadership.
Yeah.
He doesn't just limit it to, those people with fancy titles or, positions of authority.
Right. He sees it as something anyone can develop.
Yeah.
A skill set and a mindset.
Right.
It's all about influencing and inspiring others.
Okay.
Whether you're leading a team at work, a community project,
Yeah.
or even just your family.
So it's not about, just bossing people around from the top.
No, not at all.
Okay, so what does Stein say are those essential qualities for being a good leader?
Well, he introduces 5 virtues for effective leadership: vision, servant leadership, communication, accountability, and adaptability.
Okay, let's start with vision.
Okay.
I'm a visual person, so I'm really intrigued by how Stein approaches this.
He suggests creating a vision board,
Okay?
but not just like a Pinterest board full of pretty pictures.
Right.
He's talking about something tangible that represents your goals and aspirations.
Okay.
Something you can see every day to keep you motivated.
Uh-huh.
And what's interesting is that he really emphasizes the importance of sharing this vision with your team or the people you're leading.
Why is that so important?
Because it creates a sense of purpose and unity.
Okay.
It gives everyone a common goal to work towards and helps align individual efforts. Think about some of those super successful companies and organizations.
Right.
They all have that clear, compelling vision that everyone believes in.
So it's like you're painting a picture of the future that gets everyone excited.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to servant leadership.
Okay.
This one always kind of throws me off. How can you be a leader by serving others? Doesn't that seem kind of contradictory?
It might feel that way at first, but the core of servant leadership is all about putting the needs of your team members first,
Okay.
empowering them to succeed,
Yeah.
removing those obstacles and providing support.
Okay.
And what Stein emphasizes is that this actually leads to more buy-in and ultimately better results.
Yeah, I could see how that would make for a more collaborative and engaged team. Instead of feeling like just another cog in the machine,
Yeah.
people feel valued and invested in the team's success.
Exactly. And this ties into the next virtue, communication.
Okay.
Now, we always hear about how important communication is, but what sets Stein's approach apart?
Yeah, I'm curious too, because it seems like communication breakdowns are the root of so many problems.
Right. Stein goes beyond just saying clear communication is important.
Uh-huh.
He stresses active listening as a vital skill for effective leaders.
Okay.
And he gives some really practical tips.
Like what it is.
For example, he suggests summarizing what someone has said before responding to make sure you're really understanding their perspective.
Oh, that's a good one. It's so easy to get caught up in our own thoughts
Right.
that we forget to really listen.
Exactly. It's about creating that space for open and honest dialogue where everyone feels heard and respected.
Okay, now let's talk about accountability.
Okay.
This could be a tough one for leaders.
Yeah.
How do you hold people accountable without micromanaging or creating a culture of fear?
That's a good point. I've definitely worked in places where accountability felt more like punishment
Oh, yeah,
than a way to grow.
exactly.
Stein's approach is all about creating a system of shared responsibility.
Okay.
He recommends having regular progress reports where team members share their wins and challenges.
Okay.
It's all about transparency and open communication.
So it's less about blaming people and more about working together to figure out how to improve.
Exactly. And last but not least, we have adaptability.
Right. This is so important these days.
It is. Everything's constantly changing.
Right.
How does Stein see adaptability, and what are some of his strategies for becoming more adaptable?
Yeah.
He sees it as the ability to embrace change and adjust your approach as needed.
Okay.
He encourages leaders to brainstorm multiple solutions when they run into obstacles or unexpected challenges.
So it's about having a plan,
Yes.
but also being willing to change it when things don't go as expected.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that Stein doesn't see these leadership virtues in isolation.
Right.
He emphasizes that they work best when they're all integrated and practiced together.
Okay.
It's like the spokes of a wheel.
Yeah.
Each one's essential for staying balanced and moving forward.
So it sounds like Stein is advocating for a well-founded approach to leadership, one that includes Not just what you do, but also your inner qualities and values.
Exactly.
Which makes me think, how do you apply these coach virtues when building a team? Is there a connection between these two parts of the book?
That is a great question, and it perfectly sets the stage for the final part of Raise Your Game Team.
All right, so welcome back to Wealth of Words. We've looked at the individual player and the guiding coach in Alex Stein Jr.'s Raise Your Game. And now we're stepping onto the court, you could say, and looking at how it all works together in Part 3 team.
Yeah, this is where Stein lays out his plan for creating those high-performing teams, the ones that are always achieving amazing results. And he does it by talking about 5 key virtues for team success: trust, culture, roles, and responsibilities, collaboration, and sustainability.
Okay, so it seems like we're moving from the me to the we, building on that foundation of individual growth and good leadership. Let's start with trust. I think we all know how important trust is in any relationship.
Yeah.
But what makes it so vital for a team?
Stein says trust is the absolute foundation of any high-performing team.
Okay.
Without it, you just have individuals working alone, afraid to share ideas or take risks.
Right.
He thinks that building trust starts with vulnerability. Team members being willing to be themselves and share their strengths and weaknesses.
So it's not just about being good at what you do.
Right.
It's about being human, being relatable, which makes me think about those team-building exercises.
Uh-huh.
Are those cheesy icebreakers actually helpful for building trust?
Oh, absolutely. Stein is all about team-building activities.
Okay.
He believes that even those silly games can help break down walls and create a sense of camaraderie. The key is choosing activities that make people work together and communicate, so they can see each other's strengths in a new way.
It's like creating a connection between individual personalities and building a shared team identity.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's move on to culture. How do you build a team culture that leads to success?
Well, Stein emphasizes defining those core values as a team.
Okay.
And these values shouldn't just be words on a poster.
Right.
They should actually guide how the team acts and makes decisions.
Okay.
He suggests getting the whole team involved in this process so everyone feels ownership and buys into it.
So it's not just the leader deciding the culture.
No, it's a group effort.
Okay. And once those values are defined, how do you make sure they're actually lived out by the team?
It's all about walking the talk.
Okay.
Leaders has to set the example and create systems that reward people who align with the team's values.
Okay.
That could be public recognition, performance bonuses, or even just simple words of encouragement.
So you create a feedback loop that reinforces those values and behaviors.
Exactly.
Right. Next is roles and responsibilities.
Okay.
This seems super important for avoiding confusion and conflict.
Yes.
What's Stein's take on making roles clear within a team?
He stresses the importance of clear communication right from the start.
Okay.
That means outlining individual roles and responsibilities during team meetings, so everyone knows who's accountable for what.
Okay.
He even suggests creating a visual representation of these roles, like an organizational chart.
Right, so it's like a roadmap for the team, where everyone knows where they're going and how their individual efforts contribute to the overall goal.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's talk about collaboration.
Okay.
This seems like the core of teamwork.
Yes.
So what are some practical ways to encourage a collaborative spirit within a team?
Stein really believes in the power of brainstorming sessions.
Okay.
But he says it's important to make a safe space where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas, no matter how senior or experienced they are.
Right.
He suggests things like round-robin brainstorming,
Okay.
where everyone gets a turn to share their thoughts without introduction.
So everyone's voice is heard, and the team benefits from different perspectives.
Right. It's about using the collective intelligence of the group.
Finally, let's talk about sustainability. I think this gets overlooked a lot when people are just focused on short-term wins. How does Stein approach maintaining that long-term team performance?
He talks about the importance of preventing burnout, which can really hurt team sustainability.
Yeah.
He wants leaders to build a culture that values work-life balance, where people feel comfortable taking breaks and making their well-being a priority.
Right, it's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
Taking care of yourself and your team members is essential for lasting success. So just to recap, Stein's 5 virtues for team success are trust, culture, roles, and responsibilities, collaboration, and sustainability. It sounds like a recipe for a team that's not just productive, but also resilient and fulfilling for everyone involved.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting how these team virtues fit perfectly with the virtues for the player and the coach.
Right.
It's like a beautiful tapestry where individual growth, effective leadership, and collaborative teamwork all come together to create something amazing.
So it's a holistic approach to raising your game, recognizing that success isn't just about individual achievement, but about the combined effort of a team working towards a shared goal. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to step up my game in all areas of life.
Me too.
Listeners, we hope this deep dive into Ray's Yusk, your game, has given you some ideas and motivation for your own journey. What really resonated with you in this section? How do you build trust and encourage collaboration within your own teams? Share your thoughts and experiences with us. And if you're enjoying Wealth of Words, don't forget to follow us for more deep dives into books that can change your life. Until next time, keep raising your game.